We done put all the haters out the city. Shy's on 100 right now, and everybody's swag is on heaven. So y'all get ready. Share my love. It ain't hard to do. You already know what to do. Back up some. Tune in to next time. Back up some. I told y'all. Didn't I tell you? Didn't I? Back up some. I told you though, didn't I?
Y'all see that? Trap in the closet is coming back, and I am the star. That's what they hired me to be, the star, and I'm gonna blow up. I'm gonna blow up. What that song say? We blew up. We blew up. I'm telling you, I'm gonna blow up. And I'm gonna have so many fans, young and old. I'm gonna go my ass to a stripper club after this is over, and I'm gonna get my bang in. Bang, baby. Bang. About that shit though. You don't know nothing about that shit. I don't know you know nothing about that jacket though. Touch that body. Come on, touch that body. Oh, hit it now. You better freak that thing.
Okay, now I tried to hold off the longest I could. R. Kelly, get in here.
The set, let me turn this around. You see all those people right there? Those people are here for me, and they're getting checks. And we're gonna really get into the dancing. So everybody do this. Okay, maybe not, but just get into the dancing. Just really feel it. Gotta get them into it. They don't. Stiff as hell. Whoa. Populate, yeah.
This is smooth here. That's that new style. That's future. This is a Pontiac. This is that new thing here. What's this? The escalator? Turkey burger, turkey. Can I get a turkey burger?
Now, R. Kelly has had a lot of victims. He's been accused of a lot of things. It's been a lot that has been said in regards to what he has done, how he has done it, the way he has done it. But since we're going to go ahead and discuss victims, let's go ahead and get into Ms. Kelly.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You were married to R. Kelly for 13 years. You've been divorced for 10. Why come out now?
Because it's about saving lives. And you cannot not speak when someone's life and what they've been through is parallel to yours. It's different when you hear things and it's like, oh, I heard it on the radio or I read it in a magazine, but it's different when you hear words that ring true to your spirit because you've survived it and been through it. And I wanted to bring validity to these women's stories because I think so much it falls on deaf ears and no one believes them. So I felt if I could come forward and say, you know what, it's true because I've been through it, and the things that these women are saying, they would not know my life unless they've been through it too. I have to speak up.
Okay, before I go into Ms. Kelly, I want to start first with SurvivingRKelly and Jocelyn Savage. Okay? And as we all heard, within that situation, Jocelyn beat up Azriel. But I'm about to get there in a moment. Now, Jocelyn and Azriel were the two of R. Kelly's living girlfriends that were left in his home when he went to jail. We saw them together on numerous occasions, which is nothing new. We saw them together on numerous occasions. At one point, they even had sat down and did a sit-down interview together, and they were still retreating back to R. Kelly's home. Ultimately, things took a whole left, and Jocelyn beat up Azriel. There were charges pressed, which Azriel ultimately dropped the charges. But eventually, they both got to the point, well, more so Azriel got to the point where she felt like she was no longer interested in the whole R. Kelly scheme. So she really started to talk more than Jocelyn at this point. Okay, so this is where the disconnect came in at. And Azriel's family had been looking for her, had been trying to get in contact with her. Jocelyn's family too, but no more than Azriel's family, okay? Azriel's family showed up to the press conference. It was a lot that happened with Azriel's family, okay? But nevertheless, they ultimately ended up being listed as victims too in the whole R. Kelly scheme of everything that took place and how it did and the way it did, whatever. Now, Kelly is just a prime example of how a narrative can be confused. A serious narrative can be confused. And it's crazy that I'm doing this video and I'm speaking on confusing the narrative in a video of mine because I spoke on this just publicly on Twitter, and it was a whole thing. Like, the girls wanted to tear me to shreds for even discussing it. But this is what I mean. Kelly, was among many victims, which I'll get to in a moment. She was among many victims, but she was also in the first bracket of the allegations being thrown. For me, her story was a bit contradicting. And it was a lot that she said and a lot that she did, interviews and all of that stuff. And more so for me, with right after the whole Me Too thing came out and everybody really started to talk, and then she started really getting a little bit more vocal as far as the allegations and things like that. But her story was a bit contradicting. And you know who made a valid point about that? Lunel.
Now, she didn't get a clue after the first baby, so she laid up and have 3.
Well, if you look at, like, they had actually pulled out some of her, videos. Remember, she was like on that house, there's Hollywood X's or something like that show.
Yeah.
And there was a video of her singing R. Kelly's praises.
Yeah.
How's my best friend? I love him.
He's a good provider.
He's this, he's that, and
he's
then
the king. Be clear. He's the king of R&B, and I'm gonna get everything that this Kelly last name gets me. I got all the bad shit. Now I'm gonna get all the good shit. Yes, I'm gonna get a table at STK because I'm Ft.RKelly. Yeah, the bitch said that.
She went in the end after saying so much and going through so much, allegedly. She went in the end and wanted to now victimize herself, when in all actuality, she was for a long time putting R. Kelly on a pedestal of, oh, we're together, I'm sticking beside him, that's my husband, I'm Mrs. Kelly, and like, a lot of people, the way I feel, a lot of people will side with Ft.RKelly, not having done the research on her like they have done on R. Kelly. It's been a lot that Ft.RKelly has said and done that has confused not only the whole relationship narrative, not only her allegations, but just the whole Me Too narrative in general. And even on top of all of the abuse allegations and all of that, she still turned around and had 3 kids for him. She was being controlled and all of this and all of that, but you still turned around and you had 3 kids for him. So where was all of this when you were having kids for him? Where was all of this before you married him? Because technically, from what I've seen and the research that I've done, R. Kelly was beating on her before she married him. She was still a background dancer for R. Kelly, and she was just dealing with R. Kelly when he was beating on her. So at what point in there did you not have the chance or the ability to speak on what happened to you or really speak into the allegations? Yeah, overall, Ft.RKelly leaves me hella confused, and I'm going to give her a denied. I don't knock the fact that she might have went through whatever she went through with R. Kelly, and I don't knock the fact of whatever, she personally has encountered within herself, emotionally, mentally, physically. I don't knock that either. But just like Azriel and Jocelyn, she confuses the narrative to me. Because just as I brought them up in the beginning, how are y'all R. Kelly's girlfriends and living in his house, the same house where they claim all of the allegations took place? Y'all are still there. How are y'all hearing about the allegations and the things that he's been through with younger girls in y'all's age bracket, and y'all are still comfortable with living in this house, not telling y'all parents where y'all are, basically avoiding y'all parents, having people looking for y'all and searching for y'all like y'all missing, and just the whole thing was just dragged out for no reason. When in all actuality, what they didn't realize, for me, for somebody like me, was that they were confusing the narrative. So just like Dre Kelly, they would probably get denied too had they been listed up here, but they're not. So moving right along.
He was molested by a family member. You and I had a conversation about 2 months ago, and you gave me the specifics on who the family member was and the details. Um, it kind of took place, and I'm a molestation victim, so I can understand I was molested by my uncle. But surprisingly, you guys were both, your brother R. Kelly and you, Carrie Kelly, were molested by your own sister,
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
Okay, can you? We got a lot to unwind here because I want to understand, like, how old were you when this first happened?
I was around 6 years old.
6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how old was your sister at the time?
Well, she's 9 years older than me. She had to be about maybe 15.
15 years old.
Yes.
Okay. Now, is she the oldest sibling?
Yes. She's the oldest.
She's the oldest. Now, and I hate to bring up my molestation, but my molester was an uncle, and he was my babysitter, and he was 19, and I was 6. Was this the same type of case? Was she your babysitter?
Yes.
Or?
Yes, because my mom had to work, and she was going to school, to take care of us. So my sister watched us, and my mama trusted her.
Okay. So you're probably wondering who that person was that you just seen in the clip. Yeah, that was Carrie Kelly, R. Kelly's brother. Now we're going to go ahead and get into him also. Now I'm going to say ahead of time that, in my opinion, this week Carrie Kelly is going to be my VIP, because he's the only sane one, just like the females who are willing to tell their story and really let people know where the root of this whole sexual abuse, sexual violence ordeal comes from with R. Kelly, where this type of behavior comes from. I have always been a person, me being a sexual abuse victim myself, I have always been a person to say that most sexual abusers have been sexually abused. And according to them, their older sister, Teresa Kelly, molested them when they were 6, and R. Kelly, I think, was either younger or older than 6, but Carrie was 6. And R. Kelly, of course, we've heard R. Kelly mention it here and there, but we've never got to the specifics of who exactly, how exactly, where exactly, and this is where Carrie Kelly comes in at. He sat down with Tasha K to give a brief rundown of everything that had taken place and what they had been through. Now, just like I said just earlier, sexual abusers tend to be sexually abused. R. Kelly was sexually molested by his sister, allegedly, and he's been dealing with sexual abuse allegations for well over a decade. Let's start with the charges, okay? Let me pull out my handy dandy book here so I can go ahead and let you know what I've got, okay? Starting from 1994, R. Kelly marries Aaliyah, which we all knew was a whole son, okay? 1996, he was sued for emotional distress. In 2001, he was sued by an intern. All of these have something to do with sexual abuse. In April and May of 2001, he gained 2 more cases. In 2002, he was charged for the child pornography, in which the video was circulating where R. Kelly allegedly peed on a 14-year-old girl. And regarding that, I don't see how, and the jury seemed to be confused and gave him a not guilty verdict for that. I don't see how, when you can clearly see in that video that it looked just like R. Kelly. But moving right along to the rest of these allegations. In 2004, later in 2002, all the way into 2004, he was arrested. When he got arrested over the child pornography in 2002, that led to him basically collecting more charges from 2002 to 2004. In 2017, that's when the cult allegations arise, and they were saying that R. Kelly had a cult and was collecting girls and a whole bunch of other stuff that just blew our minds, right? Right. In 2017, 2018, the victims finally started coming out to the press. Now, mind you, this is a good amount of years, a good, nice amount of years. We're talking about from 1994 to 2017, 18, that victims had never approached the press. Just in 2017, 18, the victims started approaching the press. In 2018, hashtag mute R. Kelly, his staff started quitting, and he gained another court case. So at this point, R. Kelly was just gaining, he had been gaining cases, okay? So a lot of people that don't understand where all of the victims come from, like they're just on a bandwagon. Okay, so beginning of 2019, R. Kelly bumped into SurvivingRKelly, the documentary, the docu-series, which we all know about, and he gained more charges from that also. 2019, he did sex trafficking, and he was charged for that also in 2019. August of 2019, he was denied bail. March of 2020, his trial was delayed. In August of 2020, he gained more charges for witness tampering and prison assault. So R. Kelly is sitting on a whole bunch of stuff, and I feel like this all stems from whatever happened with his sister. It's sometimes unfortunate what we go through as people, because people don't understand the trauma that they inflict on other people, but sometimes we're responsible for our own actions as well. I'm a sexual abuse victim. I've been sexually assaulted before, and I'm not running around sexually assaulting people. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give Carrie a VIP this week, and we're gonna move right on over to the embarrassment himself, Mr. Darrell Johnson.
What do you say to all of these women?
What I
It's
say,
still the question that haunts many people.
absolutely, and I understand that. What I say is, again, they've indicted Mr. Kelly. He's in jail right now. He will have his day in court, and they will have to bring the evidence, and that's what has to be done. If the evidence sticks, Mr. Kelly will spend the rest of his life in the penitentiary.
You have a 20-something-year-old daughter. Would you allow her to be alone with
Absolutely not.
With R. Kelly?
I wouldn't leave my daughter with anybody that's accused of pedophilia. Period.
So you would not?
I would not leave my daughter with anyone that's accused of being a pedophile. I would not.
That doesn't seem like a contradiction to you. You're
Absolutely.
sitting here
Absolutely.
defending R. Kelly, but at the same time saying you wouldn't leave your own daughter with him.
I wouldn't leave my daughter with anyone.
Okay.
I'm going to say it again. That's accused of being a pedophile.
All right.
So I'm not even going to rant on this fool too long, because I already know what I want to say. First of all, from the beginning, he's failed. He's denied. And he's denied just off of this. How are you representing R. Kelly, and you are his crisis manager, you're his crisis spokesperson, or his crisis whomever? You're on his crisis team, and you're the person that's supposed to be speaking on behalf of him in the press and doing all of this. But the way that you're basically presenting your persona to the victims that have been victimized and all of the things is very nonchalant. The constant smiling and laughing towards the victims and their allegations about R. Kelly was very much disrespectful and is very much disrespectful. Not only that, when asked, would you allow your teenage daughter, your daughter, to be around R. Kelly, your response was you wouldn't allow your daughter to be around anybody that's been accused of pedophilia. But yet, in the same sentence, you tried to make clear that you would not let your daughter around anybody that is accused of doing pedophilia. But yet, you never answered the direct question, would you allow your daughter around R. Kelly? Okay, so that was one thing. The second thing was, how are you willingly on this man's team going around to the press, doing all of this talking, all of this, and you don't even support what he's being accused of? You don't have anything to back up how you feel, nothing. You're literally just riding an R. Kelly bandwagon as a supporter, basically. And it's not getting anywhere. He quit. He left the team, which I knew he was going to eventually do, because now the vlogs was lighting his ass up, and they was exposing his ass and putting out the real information that he was full of shit. There's a whole Instagram that has been put out about him that contains documents of how he tried to bribe the victims, and he was stealing money from R. Kelly's team, and just a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm going to plug that Instagram here so you can see, because I do keep the receipts. I'm going to plug that Instagram here so you can see. You can go on over there and see for yourself. And those receipts have been up since well after 2018, 2017, 19. Around those areas, those receipts were put up, and the page still is up, hasn't come down. So, with all being said, sorry for this episode being late. And I thank you for having a little bit of patience with me. I'm going to be back on time Sunday with a fresh episode. And stay tuned, because I'm sure if you follow my Instagram already, you'll see who I'm promoting, so you'll know who the episode is going to be on. But if you're not following my Instagram, which I'm going to plug that here too, then you should go over there and follow so you see who I'm going to be talking about this coming Sunday. And if not, and you're here, it's going to be a surprise to you who I'm talking about this coming Sunday. It's going to be a really juicy episode, and I'm going to have even more receipts. This episode was a little late because I've been going through a few disputes with YouTube regarding my videos from season 1, and even some of my videos from season 2, even though I'm 5 episodes in. I took a day and I just disputed everything. So I'm kind of back and forth with YouTube, celebrities, entertainment networks. It's a lot for my videos. But nevertheless, I'm going to be back on time next week. I promise, and I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to be back on time next week. I'm going to follow my weekly schedule so I can be back on time. And yeah, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, and let me know what you think about all that I just said. And don't forget, before you leave a negative comment on anything that I've said, create your own YouTube channel, create your own show, and then I'm going to watch your show and I'm going to support you and give my opinion. Make sure you come over here and let me know what your show name is, where I can find you, and what time I need to be there so I can support you and give my own opinion on how you feel about these people too. And yeah, I'm going to be back next week. Thank you for watching.